Once you've had your film idea and you're inspired to make it, you will need to write it down. So, how do you begin? First, let's talk about plot structure. Now, short films normally have a simpler structure than features, which are normally based around a 3-act structure. But as long as you have a clear beginning, middle, and an end, even if they're only a few seconds or minutes long, then that's your story. In a short film, you will probably have a quick setup, an inciting incident or some event that changes everything, some rising action where the protagonist does things to achieve their goal, a climax when everything comes to a head and gets resolved, and then some kind of resolution if any further resolution is needed. Another popular structure to make is a punchline film. These follow the same structure as a joke. There is a setup and then a punchline, and often this will turn the expectation of the setup on its head with some sort of twist. The setup will lead the audience to think one thing, and then the payoff will do something different that is surprising but still makes sense. You're basically giving the audience what they want, but not in the way they were expecting it, and their surprise will normally cause humor or shock. 90% of a punchline film will normally be the setup, 10% will be the punchline, and then it ends because there is nothing more to say, because your story is over. You just want to create a laugh or a gasp and then roll your credits. So you can see why this structure is well suited to a short format. My short horror film In Memoriam is basically a punchline film which uses a shocking twist, so take a look at it if you want to see an example of this. Next, how long should you make your film? Well, to me, if you're aiming for festivals, then the sweet spot for shorts is about 8 to 12 minutes or less. The shorter your film is, the easier it is for a programmer to find a slot for it. For features, I'd say it's more like 90 to 100 minutes. Now, this doesn't mean that longer films won't be accepted, but nobody wants to watch an average 2-hour film that could have been a very good 90-minute film, and there are a lot of them. So once you have a basic structure worked out, here are some general tips on writing films that I have found useful. Firstly, for anyone completely new to writing a script, do not add any camera directions or anything technical. You just need to first write your story, and then you can worry later about the best way to capture it. When beginning your story, try and grab your audience in the first few seconds. Try to write something to open with that would make you sit up and take notice. With this, it's good to avoid cliches, things that you've seen a million times, like starting with someone waking up in bed and turning off an alarm clock. The chances are your audience will have seen these many times before too, and it will just make them zone out. Nobody wants to make a generic, forgettable film, so try something that you haven't seen before. Once again, I would say try and work within some limitations, because often the best ideas are very simple. Try just 1 or 2 characters and locations, nothing too impossible to film based on the level that you think you are at. Do not include a load of loose ends that don't lead anywhere. You won't have time for that, and neither will your audience. So each scene should cause the next one to happen, like a series of dominoes falling. If the scene doesn't drive the narrative, the chances are it's unnecessary, so you can cut it out. This is a big one. Remember, show, don't tell. Now, while there's a place for dialogue, and some films are mainly based around it, if you use too much of it, you might as well be in the theatre or listening to the radio. Too many amateur short films rely on endless dialogue, and a lot of it is usually unnecessary and could be replaced with images which say as much. At my film school, we were challenged to make a 2-minute film with no dialogue. How do you do this? Show, don't tell. Look at any Pixar film to see some great examples of this through montage. Some of the best short films rely on as little dialogue as possible, and this will make you a great visual storyteller if you practice. Dialogue should simply be the icing on the cake, and if you removed it from a good film, you should still be able to tell what is going on by the body language of the actors. If you do want to do something dialogue-based, you could always not bother with a script at all and just try improvising, although this will lead to a lot of footage which you'll need to create a story out of. I would start with at least a beginning, middle, and ending beat worked out. You don't have to write the whole thing, but just work out where you roughly want the conversation to go. You might also need to film with multiple cameras for this, because if it's more than one person, improvising dialogue will be different every time, and multiple cameras will allow you to edit it more easily later. I tried the multi-camera approach in my short film Beer and Nuts. This film was just made during a professional job for a client in Iceland, and so it wasn't planned in advance. We were simply taking advantage of an interesting location. So although we didn't script it, we did work out the beginning, middle, and ending beats first. Then me and my co-actor just improvised for about 30 minutes, and then I cut this down to the 5 minutes that you see in the film. So this can be fun and get good results quickly on the day, but usually only if you know where the scene will be heading when you begin. When improvising, you might also have to be careful of things like changing light or shadows, because if you start chopping up your footage and rearranging it into a different order than what you filmed, the chances are you will see some continuity problems. If you want to write a traditional script for your film, it should probably look like this. This font and style makes it easy to read and see what is action, what is dialogue, and where each scene is set. This formatting also means that each page roughly equates to 1 minute of film, which is pretty handy to help work out how long your film idea will be. Here are a few key things to note. Professional scripts are written in 12-point Courier font. In the scene headings, the scene has a number, and int or ext, meaning interior or exterior. You always specify day or night, because this will help work out what to shoot when and how much lighting you will need. Then your action appears at one indentation, dialogue at another, a bit further in, and character names the furthest in. Character names and new important information are in caps. Everything has a gap between it and the next thing to make it easy to read, and the pages have thick margins. You can buy proper programs that save you a lot of time by automatically adding all this formatting, such as Celtx or Final Draft, but you can also use something more basic like Word or Pages and just use the tab keys to do the formatting manually. So whether you're just scribbling your basic idea down for you to see, or you're doing a professionally formatted script for others to look at, go ahead and get it down on paper. An important part of writing is rewriting. No script is perfect right away, and a good tip when you finish a draft is to not look at it for a while and then reread it later with fresh eyes, and you'll probably spot lots of ways to make it better. Another method is to show it to some people to get some honest feedback. Don't just show it to your mum, show it to people who won't automatically tell you it's great. But also be aware that constructive criticism can be good, but at the same time don't take too many opinions if you already have a strong idea of what you want to make. Finally, I'll say that filmmaking can be tough, so make sure that script is as strong as you can before you rush into trying to make your film.